Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV's World Report. Let's begin with news coming in from Australia. At least 15 people, including a 10-year-old girl, have been killed in a mass shooting that took place on Bondi Beach in Australia's New South Wales. Victims range in the age group of 10 to 87, and the attack that unfolded on Sunday during that public event marked the start of a Jewish celebration, a Jewish festival. Now, the police say that they are treating the shooting as a terrorist incident. Authorities confirmed that the two gunmen were a father-son duo. The 50-year-old suspect was found dead at the scene, while his 24-year-old son is in hospital. According to reports, the shooters are originally from Pakistan. The son is an Australian-born citizen, while the father, who arrived back in 1998 on a student visa, which was later transferred in 2001 to a partner visa and later a resident return visa. According to police, the two gunmen in the mass shooting incident were that duo of father and son. It was the deadliest shooting that's taken place in Australia in almost 3 decades, in a country where the country is very strict as far as gun control laws are concerned. One gunman, 50-year-old Sajid Akram, was fatally shot by the police. The other shooter, his 24-year-old son Naved Akram, was wounded and was being treated at a hospital. The duo were likely of Pakistani origin. According to reports citing US intelligence officials briefed on the investigation, reports have suggested that the son is an Australian-born citizen, while the father that arrived much earlier and has changed multiple visas.
I jumped out of a window and I just was like, where's my family? And then we were running up behind me. And I could just hear the gunshots and they're just so loud. And we didn't know which way that they were shooting, so we were like running on the open road. And I just, like, images are just like flashing. I'm like, I just need to get my family safe, so we're just running with heaps of people.
Amazing bravery and the kindness that people are showing. That guy that could have been so much worse who got the gun off the guy. Amazing. He's a legend.
Yeah.
And it's Australia's Prime Minister who has said that he would propose tougher national gun laws after that mass shooting that's taken place on the Bondi Beach that left at least 15 people dead and many others wounded. Albanese has said that he would propose new restrictions, including limiting the number of guns a licensed owner can obtain. He's also condemned the attack as an act of pure evil, saying it deliberately targeted the Jewish community. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has blamed the Australian government and the Prime Minister, accusing it of allowing what he called the disease of anti-Semitism to spread. The US President has also gone ahead and commented on the attack. He's called it a terrible anti-Semitic attack.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations. And it is forever tarnished by what has occurred last evening. This was an attack deliberately targeted at the Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah, which of course should be a joyous celebration, and the Jewish community are hurting today. Today, all Australians wrap our arms around them and say, we stand with you.
ענק, כמו רני גבילי, שפשוט נלחם עד הכדור האחרון. גם היום מנסים לרצוח, ולצערנו גם היום הצליחו לרצוח יהודים, טבחו ביהודים בסידני שבאוסטרליה. אני כתבתי לפני 4 חודשים מכתב לראש ממשלת אוסטרליה, ואמרתי לו, המדיניות שלך מעודדת טרור, היא מעודדת אנטישמיות. אתה קורא למדינה פלסטינית, ואתה נותן בעצם פרס לחמאס על הטבח הנורא שהם ביצעו בנו ב7 באוקטובר. אני לא שוכח את זה.
The people, unfortunately, 2 are no longer with us. Brown University, 9 injured, and 2 are looking down on us right now from heaven. And likewise in Australia, as you know, that was a terrible attack. It was a rough day but to Australia and the Prime Minister, to everybody that we know so well, we get along with so well. We have a great relationship. That's a terrible situation going on over there. Think of that. And Brown University, great school. Great, really one of the greatest schools anywhere in the world. Things can happen. I pay my deepest regards and respects from the United States of America.
Vishal, my colleague, joining us in order to get us details. Vishal, of course, take us through the bystander who has been completely heroic in all this, who disarmed the Sydney shooter, but also get us a background on the father-son duo.
See, the background is so far quite unclear. What we've gathered from reports is that the senior guy in this whole deal, in this whole attack, he had come to the Australian territory back in 1998, and he had slowly graduated through various visa schemes. He had been living as a legitimate and almost like a legitimate citizen for a while now, and his son, who was also involved in the attack and who has since been apprehended and who remains in a critical but stable condition, he was actually an Australian-born person. It remains to be seen which country they originally belonged to. Some reports suggested that they could have come from Pakistan, but that is not fully confirmed at the moment. Many reports do suggest that, but we are waiting for confirmation through various sources. What we have gathered is that they had been working various odd jobs. The 24-year-old was a bricklayer. He was just let go from his job about 2 months ago. He was searching for a job, and some reports suggest that the 24-year-old could have been influenced by Islamic State's ideology, and the authorities had an eye on him, but they did not keep a close eye on him because they had ruled out that he was a potential danger to the society. So, but that was clearly not the case. He had gone on to execute some of the biggest atrocities on the Australian soil. So these are some of the latest we have picked up, but the Australian government is in shock because Australia has probably the most stringent gun laws as far as the world is concerned, and it comes as a big shock to the community.
Right, of course, and we just heard Albanese there saying that they're going to make it even more stricter as far as gun licensing is allowed in the country. But also take us through the reaction of the family. We believe the mother still in denial, calling him a good boy.
Yeah, that's what we've heard, that the mother is saying that he's quote-unquote a good boy, but that's hardly the case, right? Because that same person has gone on to shoot at children. At least one 10-year-old child, a 10-year-old girl was killed in the attack, and we've seen various footages of the attack. And this 24-year-old in particular, he seemed to be quite well trained in handling these weapons, and he was incessantly shooting at civilians. Somehow he was tackled by the authorities and he was arrested. But the other person, the senior person in the case, the 50-year-old shooter, he was a fruit seller, if you can imagine. And what changed in them, what sparked this fundamentalism in them, that will have to be investigated. We have seen the video of the hero that supposedly tackled the senior person, the senior attacker in this case, and probably saved a lot of lives. So that person is also being hailed at the moment.
Right, thank you so much, Vishal, for getting us those details. Now let's just get you dramatic footage that showed students hunkered down in a room at the Brown University before the police arrived to escort them out of the building following a deadly shooting that took place over the weekend. The police in Rhode Island say that they have released the person of interest from custody after 2 students were killed and 9 others were wounded in the incident. The shooting set off hours of chaos across the Ivy League campus and surrounding Providence as well as neighborhoods as hundreds of officers searched for the shooter and urged the students to remain in shelter, to remain in place. But these are the visuals coming about from the Brown University. Media mogul Jimmy Lai, who has been found guilty on 2 charges of foreign collusion and 1 charge of seditious publication. The case marks how much the semi-autonomous Chinese city has changed since Beijing began a crackdown on dissent 5 years ago. The 78-year-old was arrested in 2020 under a national security law imposed by the Chinese authorities to quell the massive anti-government protests that soared in 2019. Chile's ultra-conservative Antonio Costa secured a stunning victory in the presidential election on Sunday and setting the stage for the country's most right-wing government in 35 years of democracy. Costa won 58.2% of the votes as Chileans overwhelmingly embraced his pledge to crack down on increased crime and deport hundreds of thousands of immigrants without legal status. His challenger, this was the communist candidate, Jeanette Jara, clinched 41.8% of the votes.
Porque Chile nos ha dado un mandato claro, que no admite excusas. Este mandato no permite demoras. Chile quiere un cambio, no quiere continuidad, y lo dijo fuerte y claro en varias instancias. Y les quiero decir que sí, Chile va a tener un cambio real que ustedes van a empezar a percibir prontamente.
Now, 17 people were killed and 20 others were injured after a bus carrying school children fell off a cliff in rural area in Colombia. The governor, Andres Julian, said that the bus was traveling from the Caribbean island, this is the Caribbean town of Tulo, to Medellin after a school trip and was carrying students from this particular high school, and the students had been reportedly celebrating their graduation on the beach. The school has clarified that the outing was not an official school activity and was organized directly by the students. In other news, according to security experts, Ukraine's offer to forego joining the NATO military alliance will not significantly change the course of peace talks. During negotiations with the United States ambassador over a potential this is the Ukraine-Russia peace deal, it was President Zelensky offered to drop Ukraine's NATO aspirations. Zelensky had said that security guarantees from the United States, from Europe and others instead of joining NATO was a compromise from Ukraine. And in other news, Thailand's military said that it was considering blocking fuel exports to Cambodia. The settlement, and this is a statement that comes as a fighting that is continuing within the two countries, spread to coastal areas of a disputed border region. 2 days after Donald Trump, the President of the United States, said the sides had agreed to a new ceasefire. The Thai military commanders have been discussing blocking fuel exports to Cambodia, including asking the Navy to be vigilant against ships carrying strategic supplies. Now, this is the decision that is being considered. Now, the President of Guatemala, Bernardo Arevalo, on Sunday declared a state of emergency in 2 municipalities in western Guatemala. Now, the declaration comes a day after armed men attacked a military post and a police station, cut off roads and hijacked buses. The attack killed at least 5 people, and Arevalo said that criminal gangs are attempting to force security forces to withdraw in order to take control of the region. The criminal groups are linked to extortion and drug trafficking and pose an active threat to the local communities.
Es por ello que el día de hoy en Consejo de Ministros hemos decidido la implementación de medidas extraordinarias para atender esta situación crítica. Hemos emitido el Decreto Gubernativo 1-2025 para declarar estado de prevención en los municipios de Nagualá y Santa Catarina, Ixtahuacán, departamento de Sololá.
An Oscar-nominated filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife, photographer Michelle Singer, were confirmed dead on Sunday night. The couple was stabbed to death in their LA house. Now, the two suffered lacerations consistent with a knife wound. 2-time Emmy winner Reiner met his wife on the sets of When Harry Met Sally back in the 80s. Rob Reiner's A Few Good Men was Oscar-nominated for Best Picture in 1992. And let's get you more news coming about, and this is from Japan, and that is the police there have said that they arrested a man in connection with the alleged stabbing of 2 people at an entertainment complex. The complex was housing the female pop music group that was leaving, this is the HKT48, leaving them with non-life-threatening injuries. The police said that they arrested a 30-year-old suspect for allegedly stabbing a 44-year-old man in the chest at the facility with what appeared to be a kitchen knife. Now, thousands of protesters gathered in Brazil in Sao Paulo on Sunday as part of the nationwide demonstrations against a bill moving through Congress. The bill would reduce prison sentences for former president, we're talking about Bolsonaro, and others convicted over an attempted coup. The demonstrations were led by leftist politicians, labor unions, and social movements.
É ex-presidente que a lei não serve para ele também. Estamos juntos aqui, junto também com Alexandre de Moraes, ministro do STF, que está cumprindo com as obrigações dele.
And in China, the foreign minister has pressed the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC, to conclude long-running talks on a free trade agreement with China. The ministry attributed the urgency to rising perfectionism and unilateralism as free trade comes under attack. And it's Wang Wei, who is on a three-nation tour in the Middle East that began in the United Arab Emirates and is expected to end in Jordan. Let's talk about West Africa now, and it's the West African leaders that met in Nigeria's capital on Sunday for the 68th summit of the Economic Community of West African States. The meeting comes as the regional bloc grapples with insecurity, economic pressures, and political instability. In his opening remarks, the Commission chairperson has highlighted that the growing resurgence of unconstitutional changes of government continues to threaten West African regional stability, and it's Nigeria's vice president, who was representing the president, called all for renewed commitment, saying Africa's unity is not transactional.
West Africa is not a random assemblage of borders drawn by chance. It is a family bound by memory, culture, struggle, and aspiration. Like all families, we disagree. We contest ideas, and we test one another's patience. But disagreement does not erase belonging. Civil rivalry does not annul shared blood. This is the position of Nigeria, and it is the abiding conviction of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose actions have consistently signaled that our unity is not transactional, but foundational. We remain persuaded that fraternity, not force, must define the future of our community.
Erika Kirk posted on social media platform X saying that she would meet American conservative podcaster Candace Owens. Kirk has added that public discussions and live streams are an uphill task, then on hold until after the meeting. Owens has posted on X highlighting that she is also looking forward to the meeting. With Owens has been pushing conspiracy theories about Charles Kirk's assassination and made unfounded fraud allegations about the finances at Turning Point, which Erika Kirk now runs. Holiday shoppers in Nashville have said that they were feeling the pressure of higher prices this year as they look to buy gifts for their friends and their family for Christmas. The vast majority of US adults say that they've noticed higher than usual prices for groceries, for electricity, and also particularly for holiday gifts in the recent months. It's Donald Trump's series of tariffs that have added to the inflation pressure, as well as generated anxiety about the stability of the economy of the United States. Thousands of runners, most of them wearing Santa Claus costumes, took part in a 10-kilometer race outside of Paris on Sunday. Red was the color of the day, and Christmas hats were everywhere for the 47th edition of this Christmas race, certified by the French Athletics Federation. And with that, we're slipping in a short break. You don't want to go anywhere. Lots more coming up on the other side. Now, Nvidia told Chinese clients that it's considering adding production capacity for its powerful AI chips. The statement comes after orders exceeded its current output level. The move comes after Donald Trump said on Tuesday that the US government would allow for this company to export its processors, its second fastest AI chips, to China. The major Chinese companies, including Alibaba, has already reached out to the company this week about purchasing the H200 and are keen to place large orders. And we have Lily Collins, Ashley Park and the series creator arrived in Venice to begin the glamorous journey abroad. The Venice Orient Express. The cast is traveling to Paris ahead of Monday's world premiere of Emily in Paris Season 5. They pose for that photo call along the Grand Canal, as well as, they've had the Santa Maria in the backdrop. The legendary train will carry the Emily in Paris team across Europe, echoing Emily's own journey this season from Italy back to Paris. And then we have Hollywood star Vin Diesel, best known for the Fast and Furious franchise, has revealed something exciting for football and movie lovers. Diesel said that the final installment of the Fast and Furious will have a role for the Portuguese footballer Ronaldo. That is the announcement that's been made by Vin Diesel. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition.